was a long time ago, longer now than it seems, with a game perhaps you've seen in your dreams. For the game that I am about to review was once released on the classic PS2. You may say this parody does suck. Well, if you do, I don't give a flying fuck. Nightmare Before Christmas, or Xmas as some wishes, a film by Tim Burton and Henry Selick that some often consider a relic. About a skeleton feeling all down, hoping to improve his marriage, town. If you haven't seen the film, you're a bit out of touch, though to me you're not missing much. If you couldn't tell, I'm doing this in rhyme. An original idea. Is that such a crime? I know this idea was done by Caddy and the Critic. This is my review, so don't be a dick.
Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. Oogie's Revenge.
Oogie's Revenge serves as a sequel to the film loved and praised like Godfather's equal. I remember this game from when I was a kid, though playing it I never really did, for I sucked at games long ago as a little babby with no skill in tow. When I discovered this from a video by Pan, I knew I had to play it once that vid began. Before I continue to reminisce about the game and preview, let's go right into the full review.
Another magnificent Halloween, Jack.
This year's Halloween was the most horrible yet. Thank you, everyone!
1 year later, Jack leaves town, not learning his lesson, still feeling down. Searching for new spooks, he comes back to fodder, equipped with his new slime called Robber. Oogie is back to his usual bit, but Jack ain't having none of that bullshit. It's up to you to save the town and knock off Oogie's 7 holiday crown. The game itself, as you'll see, plays a lot like DMC. Well, that's because it's in the palm of our good old friends at Capcom. For their many DLC vendetta, they made this with vet producers, including one from Bayonetta. Instead of air hike, stinger, or anything nice, your best movement is to twirl like Yuri on Ice. Limited to one weapon's a bore, making the combos a real chore. Not to mention the lack of clear hit detection, it needed some cleanups. This would be perfection. Well, it seems like a mess. It has charm. In fact, the Robber is like the first devil arm. It's weak, but turns out pretty alright, after upgrades and grinding for a night. I get that's the point and part of the fun, but the grinding isn't entertaining when all's said and done. You have to combo and beat with S-rank for souls, and in order to do that, it requires insane goals. Why, to even do that needs leveling and skill to do incredible dodging. What other tricks does he have to pack? To start, a cool-looking pumpkin jack. It's a move that can inspire, but doesn't do much with pumpkin fire. A small flame or large burst, in terms of fire techniques, it's not the worst. Next you have something I'm not a fan. The Sandy Jack costume really can, to fare better with the rest of the kit. Stun, freeze, and weird rocking horse bullshit. Both can be used to rack up damage, exclamation marks, and manage hordes of enemies in a bind. While not great, they're okay, you'll find. Something that'll help that's nice, the Widget Shop, but fuck the price. Grinding it doesn't help its case when staring the same bosses in the face. Devil May Cry does something like it, but the grind red orbs is much more legit. For that requires skill and has many roots, enemies that don't take 10 years to kill like brutes. Even Bayo does it better racking up halos, making combos engaging in almost all levels. Now the bosses are highlights, sweet as cider, except for the same damn boss spider. They're split into two kinds apart. One the norm, the other rhythmic art. Though each time you miss, you take a hit. Completing the sequence equals a crit. Now, let's talk music, which is quite groovy, as it's rewritten songs from the movie. They played during bosses back to back, and here's a quick tier list I have for each track. Sally's song, "Oh No, Take Our Town Back," are trite. They don't work well in the context of a fight. This is Halloween is mid at the seam, only cause it's the main battle theme. But every other track can do no wrong, especially the finale in one original song. There are parts that remedy the mess, but keep the package from being truly blessed. Does that make it bad? Far from it. It's flawed like a game about Wallace and Gromit. Despite that, the game could still kick my ass. The game is for those with balls of brass. Though I didn't die a single time, doesn't mean I struggled nickel and dime. The game is kind of mechanically in-depth. Compared to what I've been playing, it's kind of a breath of fresh air, though I digress. The game, I repeat, is a bit of a mess. Now before we proceed, there's just one more bit. Something that I need to commit. There's 2 chapters I'd like to make scene. The 2 worst ones, 16 and 19. 16's a labyrinth with lava and saws, but dropping means back to the start as its flaws. 19 is worse since it's a maze. Getting lost in the wood really shouldn't phase at all, really, to be honest. With how much there is, it makes it the longest. Just about every other chapter in the game is serviceable or great. I'm not about this time-wasting bait. Back to the story that I've backed down. Let's see the fate of Halloween Town. Getting all the doors and placing in the hinterland, Jax makes his way to Christmas Land. Heading there without any pause, we gotta stop a train from killing Sandy Claus. Once saved, we trap up Oogie with a present or two before he turns into a holiday kaiju. Then we get one last battle and a finale of blissful musical rattle. Jack and Halloween are no longer stuck. He decides to stay with Sally and probably fuck. And the game, albeit flawed but fun, except chapters 16 and 19, which I wish were redone. Compared to DMC, which is always changing, it turns out to be a bit more enriching. But as a game about Bone Daddy Jack, it does a good job. That's a fact. No, wait. That doesn't rhyme well at all. Now the review is ruined. God damn!